Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You are listening to the Midnight Library audiobook. Let's see where Nora's story goes next. Time 000000. At first, the mist was so pervasive that she could see nothing else, until slowly she saw pillars appear on the either side of her. She was standing on a path, some kind of colonnade. The columns were green gray with specks of brilliant blue. The misty vapors cleared, like spirits wanting in to be unwashed, and a shape emerged. A solid rectangular shape, the shape of a building, about the size of a church or a small supermarket. It had a stone facade the same coloration as the pillars, with a large wooden central door and a roof, which had aspiration of grandeur with intricate details and a grand looking clock on the front gable with black painted Roman numerals and its hands pointing to midnight. Tall, dark, arched windows, framed with stone breaks, punctuated with the front wall, equidistant from each other. When she first looked, it seemed there were only four windows, but a moment later there were definitely five of them. She thought she must be miscounted, as there was nothing else around. But since she had nowhere else to be, Nora stepped consciously towards it. She looked at the digital display of her watch. It's 0000 minutes 00 seconds. Midnight, as the clock had told her. She waited for the next second to arrive, but it didn't. Even as she walked closer to the building, even as she opened the wooden door, even as she stepped inside, and the display didn't change. Either something was wrong with her watch or something was wrong with time. In the circumstances, it could have been either. What's happening? She wondered. What the hell is going on? Maybe this place would hold some answers, she thought. As she walked inside, the place was well lit, and the floor was light stone, somewhere between light yellow and camel brown, like the color of an old age. But the windows she had seen on the outside weren't there on the inside. In fact, even though she had only taken a few steps forward, she could no longer see the walls at all. Instead, there are bookshelves, aisle and aisle of shelves, reaching up to the ceiling and branching off from the broad open corridor Nora was walking along. She turned down one of the aisle and stopped and gazed to bafflement at the seemingly endless amount of books. The books were everywhere, on the shelves so thin they might as well as been invisible. The books were all green, green of multifarious shades. Some of these volumes were a murky swamp green, some of a bright and light chartreuse, some a bold emerald, and the others are verdant shade of summer lawns. And on the subject of summer lawns, despite the fact that the book old look old, the air in the library felt fresh. It had a lush, grassy, outdoor kind of smell, not the dusky scent of old tomes. The shelves really did seem to go on for ever, straight and long towards a four of horizon, like lines indicating one point perspective in a school art project, broken only by the occasional corridor. She picked a corridor at random and set off. At the next turn, she took a left and became a little lost. She searched for a way out, but there are no sign of an exit. She attempted to retrace her steps toward the entrance, but it was impossible. Eventually, she had to conclude she wasn't going to find the exit. This is abnormal, she said to herself, and to find comfort in the sound of her own voice, definitely abnormal. Nora stopped and stepped closer to some of the books. There were no titles or author's name adorning the spines. Aside from the difference of shades, the only other variation was size. The books were of similar height but vary in width. Some had spine 2 inches wide, others significantly less. One or two weren't much more than pamphlets. She reached to pull out one of the books, choosing a medium sized one in a slightly drab olive color. It looked a bit dusty and worn. Before she had pulled it clean from the shelf, she heard a voice behind her and she jumped back. Be careful, the voice said, and Nora turned around to see who was there. The librarian. Please, you have to be careful. The woman had arrived seemingly from nowhere, smartly dressed, with short grey hair and a turtle green polo neck jumper. About 60, if Nora had to pin it down. Who are you? But before she had finished the question, she realized she already knew the answer. I'm librarian, the woman said coyly. That is who. Her face was kind of but stern wisdom. She had the same neat cropped grey hair she had always, with a face that looked precisely as it always did in Nora's mind. For there, right in front of her, was her old school librarian, Mrs. Allam. Mrs. Allam smiled, thinly, perhaps. Nora remembered those rainy afternoons playing chess. She remembered the day her father died, when Mrs. Allam gently broke the news to her in the library. Her father had died suddenly of a heart attack while on the Ruby field of the boys' boarding school where he taught. She was nup for about half an hour and had started blankly at the unfinished game of chess. The reality was simply too big to absorb at first, but then it hit her hard and sideways, taking her off the track she had known. She had hugged Mrs. Allam so close, crying into her polo neck until her face was raw from the fusion of tears and acrylic. Mrs. Allam had held her, stroking and smoothing the back of her head like a baby, not offering platitudes or false comforts or anything other than concern. She remembered Mrs. Allam's voice telling her at the time, things will get better, Nora. It's going to be all right. It was over an hour before Nora's mother came to pick her up, her brother Stone and Nub in the back seat, and Nora had sat in the front next to her mute, trembling mother, saying that she loved her, but hearing nothing back. What is this place? Where am I? Mrs. Allam smiled, a very formal kind of smile. A library, of course. It's not the school library, and there is no exit. Am I dead? Is this the afterlife? Not exactly, said Mrs. Allam. I don't understand, and let me explain. The Midnight Library. As she spoke, Mrs. Allam's eyes came alive, twinkling like puddles in moonlight. Between life and death, there is a library, she said, and within that library, the shelves go on forever. Every book provides a chance to try another life you could have lived, to see how things would be different if you had made other choices. Would you have done anything different if you had the chance to undo your regrets? So I am dead, Nora asked. Mrs. Allam shook her head. No, listen carefully. Between life and death, she gestured along her aisle towards the distance. That is outside. Well, I should go there because I want to die. Nora began walking, but Mrs. Allam shook her head. This isn't how that works. Why not? You don't go to that. That comes to you. Even that was something Nora couldn't do properly, it seemed. It was a familiar feeling, the feeling of being incomplete in just about every sense. An unfinished jigsaw of a human, incomplete living and incomplete dying. So I am not a dad. Why has that not come to me? I gave it an open invitation. I wanted to die, but here I am, still existing. I'm still aware of things. Well, if it's any comfort, you are very possibly about to die. People who pass by the library usually don't stay long, one way or the other. When she thought about it, and increasingly she had been thinking about it, Nora was the only one to think of herself in terms of the things she wasn't, the things she hadn't been able to become. And there really were quite a lot of things she hadn't become. The regrets which were on permanent repeat in her mind. I haven't become an Olympic swimmer. I haven't become a gynecologist. I haven't become Dan's wife. I haven't become a mother. I haven't become the lead singer of the Librarians. I haven't managed to become a truly good or truly happy person. I haven't managed to look after Voltaire. And now